us. We got the leopards. We got a leopard behind us. I'm in the wonderful Chieftain at the blast. She's nice and loud like she should be. There's the crowd. Fun, fun. Okay, before we kick off today's video, let me know in the comment section below if you like the M60 series of tanks. I think Grumpy, which we're looking at right now, this beautiful M60, is an absolute beast. They just don't show you the size and appreciation through a video until you get up close to one. They're just cumbersome, oversized mammoths, and I love them, and particularly that big old booty. And as you can see, this engine has been running quite hot, and this is a air-cooled tank. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but M60s require a lot of cleaning and maintenance, which is what this wonderful crew member, who was actually the commander for me during my battle royale with Sofline, which unfortunately I lost, which, you know, so be it, but it still was an absolute blast, attending at the Aquino Tank Weekend at the Canadian Tank Museum. And I want to really zero in today on the people that operate and work and maintain and repair these wonderful machines. And the crews that work at the Canadian Tank Museum put their heart, blood, sweat and tears into making these platforms rolling around on the tank fields. It's really, really nice to know that there's so much passion driven into literally everything they do. And as you can see there, there's Sofline, one of the other sponsoring members of the Steel Aces team. And what a great team they are, producing a fun, action-packed tank game that is coming out in the near future. It is currently closed beta, soon to be open beta. Stay tuned for some really exciting updates on this particular tank game. I played it a few times, live streaming, had a blast, literally. I'm terrible at it, to be honest. I'm certainly not a tank steel ace, but you could be. And if you're interested, I would strongly encourage you to please go check out their Discord, their website. I'll put all the links in the description box below, including the Canadian Tank Museum, in case you want to attend next year's event. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'll certainly be looking at going. But as you can see, this is the kind of pre-event that I was able to attend before the actual show started on the weekend. And we got a lot of the vehicles out of the hangars, getting them prepped. And as you can see, another personality, celebrity here in the tanking world, the mechanic of her own heart, along with her colleague Peter, Lottie the Tank Whisperer. Yes, she was actually supporting with Peter the kind of pre-game of getting the vehicles ready to go, and she's supporting the CVRT fleet heavily here, kind of first parading them, making sure they're all good to go. If you haven't checked out Lottie's channel, please go check her out on YouTube. She's got some really good content of her own museum with Peter. They're such nice people from Australia. They've got an incredible collection, some exciting details coming from their museum in the near future. I'd love to get there one day, but Jeremy was able to get me on a number of different platforms as we were unloading the tank shed. And as I kind of explored the day, I started to appreciate how much time and effort is gone into getting the fleet ready to go. I cannot express to you how much effort is going into all of the prep of these vehicles. The motorbike, by the way, here is just prime. The boys bought it as kind of a travel, transport, recce vehicle for the event so they could get around and dot around the park. I loved it. Just seeing that thing speed away was really, really cool. And the team here have just replaced, I believe, the engine, maybe even the transmission. I was pretty sure it was the engine. And they just had so much fun. They were just kind of not tired and hot and miserable, even though they probably were. They weren't sharing their frustrations or challenges with these vehicles because they are hard to work on. And also just the little things that matter. Washing down vehicles is important. You want to make sure you're not tracking all that mud into the shops or into the warehouse or into the, the workshops. And it's volunteers like this that are doing what you think is a very benign task, but this is important, making the vehicles look good for the audience, and also just caring for them. You'd be amazed at how much damage can be done when you just leave mud, soil, rocks, oil, and dirt on the bottom of the running gear of a vehicle. So, hats off to this young lady splashing down this CVRT Sultan. It's really, really cool to see that there's the harder things that aren't normally seen are actually the hardest. This is the water truck, Bowser, that's watering down the track of the event, and they had some issues with it, but the team worked hard to get this system up and running again, and it's a big deal. It really is. If you don't have that dust mitigation, the crowd won't be able to see what's going on. So thank you again to the team who are working on those kind of what you would seem to be not a very important task, but really are. Now, of course, we all know what this is, a beautiful Sherman, but this is another behemoth, a absolute behemoth of a tank. And again, until you've started getting up close to these vehicles, you don't quite appreciate their size and the mechanical, I guess, effort that is needed to move these things, whether it be the engine in the back, the transmission, the running gear, or even the crews just having to maintain and understand how they operate safely. It's not easy just, quote, driving a tank. You have to have some proficiency and skill in that, but where the real skill and experience comes from is those who have to keep them rolling. And I know I keep re-emphasizing this, but I cannot express to you enough how cool it was to see people so engaged in making these vehicles work. So folks, this is the tough part about trying to set up such a in-depth vehicle weekend, is that there is a lot of background work that goes on here. Now, I can't preach the choir here, because here's me sat on my fat behind watching these gentlemen work their asses off on this Sherman, but hats off to these gentlemen. They are doing a lot of hard work in a short time period on equipment that is old, difficult to work with, hard to get parts for. It's very warm out today. I think we're, what, plus 30 for sure, I would say, maybe late 20s.
I don't know, the moment of melting.
Yeah. So it's pretty warm out here, but hats off to these gentlemen, right? I mean, this is what tank mechanics is all about. Upside down, getting that angle however you best can with whatever tool you can to make it work.
If you really appreciate us, you would have cold beer.
We should go get some yeah, we should go get some cold beers here. But no, seriously, I mean this in every sense of the word. Gentlemen like these make these events happen, right? It's a lot of marketing, a lot of trying to get, you know, the event shown to the people, but it doesn't happen without these guys and mechanics rolling and making it come together. So they're deep into it literally right now, but yeah, big shouts outs for the tank mechanics today. So
Get it turned off. That looks like rust. That's actually bacteria.
Wow.
Oh,
Just cakes them up, eh?
Yeah. So if you've got like screen filters, it plugs them up, and then when you're not driving it, it all falls off the screen. Yeah, they everything's fine. Then you go out to show, and all of a sudden you lose an engine. Right?
Crazy.
It takes a few minutes. It sucks it back up again.
Yeah, it's just like rust, but it's just
It's like stuff on the Titanic.
Do you get much condensation in the tanks, like and then settling and getting into the fuel? Because it's just humid out here.
I don't.
More so when they lived outside.
Yeah, most of it live outside.
And throughout the unloading day of the bay, most vehicles started out without any issue and drove onto where they needed to be set up for the particular event that they were kind of being involved in or being set up on the square. But there were some outliers, of course. The T-34 was eventually able to get outside, but she had some real troubles get going, and frustration can set in, you know, when you've done so much work on a vehicle and things were going so well, and then the very key moment you want things to go well, they unfortunately just don't work. But the team did really well at getting the T-34 going again, and even the BMP-1, which we're able to see driving this year, which in the last Aquino Tank Weekend, unfortunately, I wasn't able to see because she was out of action. But again, a lot of dedication and commitment from the crews to get this going again. Rick is here pulling out the vehicle, and I really am interested on how the mechanics work on Russian vehicles, because I don't know enough about them. I do know they're overly complicated sometimes, even though they're meant to be simple, but they were never meant to be, quote, relied upon, because let's be honest, most Russian vehicles were charged to the front and it was an attrition battle. You didn't really worry too much about how you needed to fix them, and if you did, it was normally done by quite experienced mechanics that have worked on nothing but that particular platform. And of course, we here in Canada don't have the Russian expertise to be involved in the heavy-duty mechanics of Russian vehicles as much as we would, say, a Leopard, or the vehicles that we use here in our Canadian Armed Forces, or in World War II and through the ages. But as we go through the ages, we're kind of getting into the Cold War era. We're going to get to the next problem child, which isn't really a problem child, because I love her to death. The Chieftain. Yes, she is an absolute wonderful beast, particularly flying with this Union Jack above her here. This is actually a painted Berlin Brigade vehicle. You can see there's another Chieftain on the left there, which is the one I actually at the beginning of the video was riding around in. And behind them is the Centurion, which I also got some really cool pictures of with an actual Roman soldier. He was one of the reenactors at the event. So cool to get some pictures with him. Very, very humbling to hang out and get a Roman depicted picture with me as a Roman channel or Centurion type channel. But of course she was having some problems, and there was a bit of an oil leak and a fuel leak, but the team were able to get it fixed up. Simple fix. It was just a small union that was loose, nothing major. It looks worse than it is, but this isn't that the vehicle isn't been looked after, it's just it's old. This equipment isn't run all the time, particularly here in Canada, because we have very strong winters and we can't just drive these things year round. But the Canadian Tank Museum got her fired up real quick, no issue, and she was back on the road ready to go. And this actually was the Chieftain that my crew, my camera team, were able to kind of drive around and have some fun with. One of my camera crew actually is heavily involved with Chieftain, because he has his own kind of intent with his Chieftain history, and I guess intent of what he's going to be doing with Chieftains in the future. I won't speak too much to that yet. That's his own route that he can speak to in the future. But here's Chris, one of the lead mechanics there, who we did an interview with, which I'm going to try and release in the near future, who's just kind of finished up getting the vehicle good to go. And listen to that beautiful engine. Ugh, just wonderful. There's nothing more beautiful than listening to a Chieftain churning away. That's actually the Donkey engine, the generator unit engine, GUE. But listen to that. Okay, if you're British and that doesn't put the hairs on the back of your neck, then something is very wrong with you. But I also was able to play with some British mechanical systems on my old friend, the 432. So folks, we're a day before Aquino, and you can see we got the vehicles kind of parked up, just doing some basic maintenance. But folks, my British Army career came from being a tank mechanic, and I take great pride in looking after equipment and hardware that is historically, needing love and requires attention and care, and tanks do. Like, they're actually extremely delicate machines sometimes, particularly in their older configurations, but even in their newer ones. I'm just on top of the 432, and I'm just helping the team out, doing some first parades, checking over the vehicles before the big weekend coming up here at the Tank Museum for Aquino. And we're just doing some servicing. I'm actually doing a check of the hydraulic fluid on the 432 series to make sure that she's got enough fluid for the fans and the systems inside of there to work. And you can see my cameraman over there having a lot of fun on his Chieftain configuration, and he's doing some work to have first parade that and get her all checked out and ready to go. As you know, Chieftain is a uniquely problematic tank sometimes, and yeah, my cameraman's just enjoying playing around and getting involved with some of the first parading, because we all have fun enjoying working on them. It's not just about driving them and showing them off. We take care and pride into making them keep going, and there's a lot of work into keeping them going. So hats off again to those who work and keep these things going. It's to me, it's very humbling to see a team that's really proud into making them keep rolling and keep doing what they do. So yeah, kind of cool. So there you have it, folks, just having some fun pre-setting up the vehicles with just some mechanical work, some maintenance, and getting these wonderful machines ready to go for the Aquino Tank Weekend. And a big shout out again to all of the crews who helped us get involved and dig into some of the maintenance. I'm sure we could do a lot more next time. We're actually looking potentially to see if we can, as a team, come and do some repair work ahead of time, similar to Lottie the Tank Whisperer and Peter, to, you know, do our part. We're invited, we're guests, we're very, very respectful of knowing that that's the fact, but also we'd love to help out. So hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to do some more work. Thanks again for watching, folks. I'll see you in the next one. All the best. Bye-bye.